in the middle, answer. So there was the person that just said, where there's movement, there's going, right? And obviously it ain't on the gone over, nor on the not yet gone over. It must be on the being gone over, right? It's not on the gatam, it's not on the agatam. It's obviously, come on, it's on the gamyamanam. Now, and remember, he's already dealt with going fully, at least Candrakīrti has once. This analysis of the foot and the particle at the front of the foot, the one at the rear, and the inability to find gamyamanam, it's taken care of. And so for good meditation, one could just stick with that, especially if it works. Well, if it doesn't work, then it goes on and gives more reasonings. And then also, from another point of view, it is said that one of the differences between the great vehicle and the lesser vehicle is that even though in the lesser vehicle they realize the same emptiness, they do it by way of a single or a brief number of reasons. Whereas the great vehicle type of practitioner's mind is opened up, more opened up toward emptiness. Even though they realize the same emptiness, then they both eventually directly cognize emptiness, somehow through using a vaster variety of reasonings. The Mahāyānas, the practitioner of the great vehicle's mind is broader, is opened up more toward emptiness. And thus, liking to use many different reasonings. Another reason for using many different reasons, even if that first one, the Candrakīrti set forth, worked, it helps to have another one from another point of view. Now, it can be detracting to have another one if that next one doesn't work. Then you go, going is findable, right? Because you feel the second one doesn't work. That's not reasonable. You should go back to the first one. But if you have many different points of view, it's as if the conceptual edifice is attacked by many different, Pac-Men or whatever. The conceptual architecture. So, the answer, even though you ascribe it that way, the gamyamanam is not, or gamyamanam nagamyate, right? The being gone over is not being gone over. Very hard to read this in just, isn't it? It helps to know that being gone over, the one that's hyphenated, is gamyamanam, and being gone over without the hyphenation is gamyate, right? It makes it a lot easier. I don't know any other way to do it. Is not gone over has the same problem. Gone over would then be gatam. You could mistake it for gatam. And you can mistake being gone over for gamyamanam, as if he's saying gamyamanam is not gamyamanam. And he's not, it's gamyamanam nagamyate. Clear?
You're using the hyphens.
Hyphens when it's gamyamanam.
Right.
Non-hyphenated when it's gamyate. And I don't know any other way to do it. I don't know any way. Thus, Nāgārjuna says, didn't know it was a Sanskrit class, did you? Gamyamanasya gamanam katam nopapadyate, gamyamane tu gamanam yada nopapadyate. How indeed would going, oh, come on, he says. How could going be feasible on the being gone over? When you don't have two goings. You got three things, right? Being gone over, right? The going and the goer. When you get right down to it in the next couple of verses, He's saying a goer has to have some going to be a goer, right? The area going over has to have some going to be the area going over. Otherwise, it won't be this area that's being gone over, but it'll be, you know, you can say anything is the being gone over of Jeffrey Hopkins. Okay? And of course, the going itself is endowed with going. It doesn't have to be a second going, but it itself is a going. Otherwise, we wouldn't call it going. Now, is this where the shell game is starting? You know, you look at it. Does the area going over have some going by which it is the area going over? And then if you just think of the goer, then I have some going by which I'm the goer. So there are two goings. When you think about it spatially, there are two goings. And, or is there one going, and it's sort of half, you know, it's kind of spread out, and it's half in the area being gone over in the area, which makes it the being gone over. And it's sort of this part of it, that's like with me, it makes me the goer. So he does this in great detail. You see, this sort of proliferation of reasonings can help one, as I was just saying, to break down one's adherence to the findability of the various facets of the conceptual edifice. Murti at some point refers to, he says that Nāgārjuna goes on with these reasonings ad nauseam. He's obviously not a Mahāyāna. But it's, you know, it's like, after a while, it's like, oh, stop, please stop. So you accept the designation, the being gone over, just because of its having an action of going, right? I was just talking about it. And you say that the being gone over is being gone over. Oh, you're right. Now, if you don't have the text and so forth, drive you crazy. Because the being gone over, that means gamanam, gamyate, right? The being gone over is being gone over, is gamanam, gamyate. You left your text at home today. The being gone over, so that's this area, right? Is the being gone over. This is the action. This is the action. This is the place, right? This is gamyamanam. And this is gamyate. So, and because you can read, what I was saying earlier is because you can read the English and see the being gone over is being gone over, as if you're repeating this. Gamyamanam is gamyamanam. Okay, who's going to argue that? Nāgārjuna, probably. So is not the verb to be, right? It's a helping verb. And is being is a helping verb. Is being gone. It's the continuous present. Present passive, we could use the not continuous, is gone over. Then you would keep this saying, the being gone over is the area already gone over. which is not what he's saying, right? And you say that the being gone over is being gone over, fine. Many of these sentences are like small bricks, and then you get to a big brick, right? Just little bricks, things that have already been said, just making clear what's already been said. Nothing is really added to the argument. And then something gets added, and you have to notice where those are, make the difference. Otherwise, it's very hard to read. In that case, there is one action of going. Okay, true enough. One person's going, one action of going. And due to it, let us allow the path to be designated the being gone over. Fine, fine, fine. However, it is not feasible for a further is being gone over to have a relation with an action on the being gone over. Is that what he says? It is not feasible for a further, oh I see, gamyate, to hide. Yeah, I got it wrong. After just putting all this in the blackboard and doing all this introduction, I took is being gone over as being the place. For a further verb to have a relation with an action on the being gone over. You've got the verb and you got the place where the verb takes place, and the action has been used up in the place where it takes place. So now what are you going to do? How are you going to empower the verb? You've empowered the place, how are you going to empower the verb? This doesn't seem as, does it? As
Strong.
yeah, as strong as the former one, which like grabbed you by the neck and drew you right into some sort of cognition. This one is like, you know, a game's being played on it.
Why not? I mean, it could be like kind of half and half, or
Yeah, right. You want half and half, don't you? Half and half. That's going to come up. So let's get into it. It's just declaration. It's not feasible. And you understand he's going to try to force you to have two goings. One for the verb and one for the place. All right, look. You're saying gamyamanam, gamyate. There are two gums, right? There's this gum and there's that gum. There's this going and there's that going. It's like being cute, isn't it? Thus Nāgārjuna said, how indeed would going be feasible on the being gone over? He states the reason when two goings are not feasible in the gone over. Being gone over means that which is present in the being gone over, right? Nothing new added. Two goings means two acts of going. The one action of going is used for the place, the being gone over, but there is no second action of going. Therefore, when the designation of the verb is being gone over is not feasible without a going, right? Even, we better say, therefore, the designation is being gone over is not feasible without a going.
Should that be effective? Is that talking about the place? The designation?
Is it? I thought we were talking about the verb. The place gets the going, so now the verb doesn't have any further going to empower it, to make it meaningful. So it'd be better to drop the when. Therefore, the designation of the verb is being gone over. It's not feasible without a going. And then add something like, when that is so. The meaning of the statement, gamyamanam gamyate, is not complete. This is Nāgārjuna's thought. Since there is no second action, only the place, the being gone over, exists. The verb is being gone over does not exist. Clear? I mean, clear on the mode of procedure.
So this is the only reason that Nāgārjuna, isn't it? Because the first reason is only.
Right, Candrakīrti. And
I'm glad Jeffrey did that other reason.
yes, you can see why he did.
Well, I wonder, I just don't understand why you can't say the being gone and the gamanam has no going, since it is a place. It's not actually involved in motion.
But if it's not endowed with some going, how do you designate it as gamanam as opposed to some other place? It somehow has to share.
It has to share.
Share in the action of going. It has to be affected by the action of going. And we'd like to say there's one action of going, right? And it shares in it. It doesn't do it. It doesn't perform it. And it's absurd. Nobody holds that there are two, right? So you're immediately thrown, into this, but I don't hold back, right? No.
Isn't it, since that's a passive being gone over, is being gone over by a goer, which is an active verb?
By a goer is a verb?
Well, no, I mean, the goer is going.
Yeah.
And the goer, it's a sort of an outward moving thing. From the goer goes, I guess.
See, we're starting to think about directionality with respect to verbs, right?
Right.
How big it is, sort of where it is.
Well, this side seems like the goer only ought to have going, because the being gone over is just the being gone over, so it doesn't mean.
Right, that's what I'm saying, is it's a passive, the going that it has is a receptive going, sort of, it doesn't.
Yes.
It doesn't actually do the going. So
Right, but it receives a going.
It receives a going.
Oh, so there's a going that the area receives, and it may be the same going that the goer does, right? Maybe it's with the goer and it moves into the thing that receives it.
That means two goings.
No, it doesn't mean to.
If it's with the goer and it moves, then either it's no longer with the goer,
Yes.
or it's with both of them, in which case.
Yeah, I mean, he's going on this fact. He's on right? I want to sort of draw people into the wrong view. But it's hard to get a right view, right? So if you say, I slap someone, right? The slap sort of goes in the other person. I look at him now. Doesn't it? It's sort of, I mean, as he says, there may be some problem, then the going will be in the area and there won't be anybody going in. Or you could say it was the person who was going in, who's the agent of the going that's now in the area. You know? Now, the person answers back, I think, with the dumbest answer. No, it's not the dumbest yet. Okay, sorry. It is asserted that just the verb is being gone over is related with the action of going. Okay? It's asserted that just the verb. So now the person switches from the place to the verb. Now that makes sense. Certainly, for the verb to have a gum, an action of going, since the verb is go. If you have to restrict it to one or the other, as you've been saying, oh, don't put it with the area, it's got to be with the action. And then sometimes you say it should be with the goer. If so, designation, the area being gone over, would not be related with an action of going. Yeah. But you've got to allow him to play with your mind. That's what's hard. It's very hard. So, you know, I was at my own thesis defense in Wisconsin 31 years ago. There's a professor of philosophy who was like sort of the outside person. No, it was a professor of psychiatry to whom I taught meditation. He called me up one day and he said, "You want to be taught meditation?" So I went and I sat down in the patient's chair, and I said, "Well, how much do you charge your patients?" He said, "What should I pay you?" I said, "How much do you charge your patients?" And I reversed the roles, you see, and I got whatever he was being paid as a graduate student. And then we just started. We sat down on the floor. I said, "Well, let's sit down. Let's not talk about it. Let's just do it." And we did the compassion exercises, and they were fabulously successful. Very nice guy. At one point, he said he was going to back out. He was saying, "Well, you know, I don't know how it's going," or something like that. He was going to back out. So I said, "Well, let's do it twice a week." And we went on and on. It was great. We had a lot of fun. So he was on the committee, and then there was a professor of philosophy. And there must have been some reasoning or something like that. One of the Madhyamaka reasonings. And I said, "Well, you know, one can be playful with it." And he said, "I don't want to be playful." I said, "Well, don't you play ping pong? You know, don't you go to movies?" "I don't want that." I don't want anyone playing with my mind, but you see, we do allow playing with mind in movies, and I don't know, that's sort of, you play with something and then you say, "Oh, that's shitty," and drop it, right? But in order to get anywhere with this, even find out what it's like, I think you have to really be drawn into it. Allow your mind to be drawn into it. And you end up like me, stuck. So Nāgārjuna answers, then the designation of the place would not be related to an action of going. If you put it with the verb, it won't be with the object, the place. Thereby, the meaning of the statement, gamyamanam gamyate, would not be complete. Thus, Nāgārjuna asserts, for whoever asserts going on the being gone over, it follows that there is a being gone over lacking, that there is a being gone over. For whoever asserts that going, that the action of going is used up in the verb when we say one goes on the being gone over, it follows that there's a being gone over lacking going. Okay, well, the being gone over is being gone over, meaning you used it up with your gamyate. The last part is very cute, isn't it? Don't you think it is? Oh.
Going is asserted, whoever asserts going on the place,
Yes.
it follows that there is a...
Going on the place, do you follow? Means
okay,
that
okay.
that the going that's on the place gets endowed with is the one that gets endowed. A proponent, whose position is that going is on the being gone over, asserts an action of going that depends upon something called a being gone over, which is devoid of going. And now we're getting to understand it, right? At least follow the words. For her position, it follows that there would be a being gone over which lacked going. That is, there would be a being gone over bereft of going. Fair enough. This is because the being gone over is being gone over. Can you imagine the person who typed this for me? Somebody up in a room in Capitol Hall. Being gone over. God damn it, this guy. It's amazing how right it is. The word "for" in the last line of the stanza means because. According to this proponent, a being gone over which lacks going because of the usage of the action in gamyate. That's where it hits, right? Where the meaning is really explained. A being gone over which lacks going because of the usage of the action in the verb gamyate. For this proponent, such a being gone over which lacks going is being gone over. Okay? Which is what some of you were saying for a while. The area lacks it. But you wanted to jump. Are you on a grosser level? I mean, he's got a threefold thing going. Area, action, goal. And you want to jump to area, goal, right? And so put the going is the action itself, right? This is what you're thinking, what I'm thinking too. And so plug it in with one or the other. But it's not like you've got to plug a going into going to make it go. And three places to plug it in, it's like there's only two. For Nāgārjuna, there's three. And there are three elements. And there's the top, go. And of course, he's going to say later, gantāram gacchati kāvan, agantānaiva gacchati. Gantura ganduscha, tiraskrtya, gacchati. A goer does not go. Also, non-goer doesn't go. What third other than a goer and a non-goer goes? Okay. Therefore, it follows there be a going over there would be a being going over the last going. Fine. It is asserted that the action of going is related both to being going over, that is gamyamanam, to the place, and to the verb. Okay? The action is both, is with both. Even so, as Nāgārjuna says, I enjoy it too much. Gamyamanasya gamane prasaktam gamana dvayam yena tad gamyamanam cha yatra gamanam punaha. Doesn't it sound nice? Sanskrit is just the most delicious language in the world. Listen to the Tibetan. Goma droa yunani, droa nisu telgyo de, kangi, tekom gyobatang, dila, droa kanyimbao. I mean, come on, that doesn't hold a candle. But of course, we're talking about the euphonics and not the meaning. When going is on the being going over, which is gamyamanasya gamanam. We use a genitive on gamyamanam, so it's gamyamanasya gamanam. A going of the being gone over, which I do going on the being gone over. You could say, when there is going of the being gone over, but then you would mistake it. You see, you would think the going was being plugged into the area. It's not. It's not what it's talking about. When going is on the being gone over, it follows that there are two goings. That by which there is a being gone over, and further, the going on. Now, at least we have to say there's a sharing, or there's a movement of the action into the area. One going is that due to possession of which the path obtains, gains the designation the being gone over, right? Then on the place, the being gone over, which is the base of an action of going, there's a second going by which the path is gone over. All right, all right, all right. When going, I mean, not all right, I mean, all right means I follow what you're saying. When going is on the being gone over, it follows that there is this double going. Now, the person in the street here has been sucked in and says, let there be two goings. What fault is there? You shouldn't admit to that. There is this fault. When two goings are entailed, two goers are entailed. Notice that in stanza number 5 is the term prasaktam, which is the past of prasaj, which is tell in Tibetan. For you Tibetanists? Because there's an oral tradition among some Tibetans that tell and cheer do not appear in Sanskrit. They most certainly do. Prasaktam, and in the next there will be prasadyate. Prasadyate. And cheer is done by the ablative. Dvau gantāram prasadyate prasakte gamanam gantāram hi tiraskrtya gamanam nopapadyate. When two goings are entailed, two goers are entailed. Why are two goings entailed? For a going without a goer is not feasible, which was Bill's point. With this movement thing, when it moves into the area, then it wouldn't have an agent. It would be devoid of an agent. So he's seeing that there'll be two goings, the one. But I want to say there's one going that makes me the goer, and then it moves into the area. But then, of course, when I'm a goer and I'm going, the area wouldn't be the area being gone over, because the action hasn't moved there yet.
Yeah, not at the same time.
Not at the same time. So the area being gone over would be future. Which would get it? I would get it first, right? Because I have to do it.
And then once the being gone over gets it.
So then, what?
Once the gone over gets it, then you're not going anymore.
Yes, once the area gets it, then are you the goer? But anyway, but still,
And it's past, and then you get.
so then when I'm the goer, I would be going on the agata, the yet to be gone over, right? The present action, right? So agatam gamyate is his position.
As soon as the magical transfer takes place, that place becomes the already gone.
Sure isn't so magical. I'm not moving here, right? So, as a kid, I used to go to the movies, on Saturday. I'd be analyzing, seeing. Wow, is it between the eye and the screen? Is it here? It's here. How can the screen be what is seen?
Does the whole argument hinge on the fact that it's gamanam, it's the being gone over, the fact that the word go is in the title of it? I mean, if we just call it this place or something, doesn't doesn't the whole thing fall apart?
Yeah, it's like, when somebody comes into your room when they're not supposed to come into your room, and you say, "Why'd you come in now?" And you say, and the person says, "Where?" Because you can't designate, you see any area that is being gone over or has been gone over. Therefore, the person just says, "Where?" That sounds like a private joke. An action necessarily depends on its prerequisite factors, be they objects or agents. Fine, right? An action going abides in an agent. Fine. Therefore, it depends on an agent. Fine. When just one Devadatta goes, This is why I was trying to go through this and use sort of equally she and he, she, and so forth. But when it came to Devadatta, I had to go to he. When just one Devadatta goes, there is no second agent, right? There's not two Devadattas going. We're not talking about two people called Devadatta. When one Devadatta goes, there aren't, two Devadattas going. Although he's ready to say that. Hence, due to the non-existence of a second agent, there are not two goings. Okay, clear enough. Hence, that the gamyamanam, hence gamyamanam gamyate is not feasible. That being gone over is not feasible. Or that Devadatta is going on the being gone over. Easier to say, right? Hence, that the being gone over is not feasible. Okay. When Devadatta is standing still, the person says, does he not perform several actions? Even when he's standing still, not even moving. Does he not talk? Does he not look? Right? Thus, is it not seen that one person has more than one action? Two actions are possible in one agent. Candrakīrti answers not so, because in the case of talking and looking, the capacities of the tongue and so forth are the agents, and not the entity of the person. Well, you can see that it's sort of different aspects anyway of the person are doing these different things. Whereas with regard to going, there isn't like left foot going and right foot going. Although we could get into that. You had right foot going makes the agent, and left foot going makes the object, the being gone over.
But you can also say if it's the same entity, the one looking and talking might really not be at the same time. There might be a small gap that is one time looking and one time talking, as it is the goer, the going, might not be at the same time.
Generally, within Buddhism, it's held that not about looking and talking. Looking, hearing, and so forth take place simultaneously, but can take place simultaneously. The mental consciousness pays attention to only one at a time. But in such rapid succession that you would think that they were simultaneous.
Right, but isn't that the same thing about the going? It's so rapid, the transference of action to the
Yes.
to the goer. The goer
Yes.
is the
It's in very minuscule moments of time that it's transferred. It's only that very minuscule moment when there's no goer of the going, when it's down in the being gone over. Because the actions are different. A distinction of the capacities that affect those actions is also established. One is not called the speaker due to an action of standing still. Okay. The entity is nevertheless one, right? The speaker and the looker. You can see why the person's saying it. It doesn't say let is be so, right? Let it be so. Still, the entity, the person, is not the agent. You're the one who talked. You're the one who looked, right? It would seem he didn't have to take this tack to defend his position.
Now, isn't he arguing against somebody who sees the five senses as agents, the sense powers?
Or the sense consciousnesses. But still, he's willing to say that Devadatta, the person, is the agent of going. If Devadatta is the agent of going, then Devadatta is the agent of talking and the agent of looking.
Or
Really?
would it be more effective to say mental consciousness?
Otherwise, you'd say the body of Devadatta, or the feet or something like that, are the agent of going, and Devadatta isn't. Devadatta doesn't do anything. Or you'd have to reserve some very special things. I don't know, I don't get this section. What is the agent? The capacities are, and those are just different. Furthermore, now this is fine. Furthermore, this one hits it for me. someone is not simultaneously and in one place seen to be an agent due to two similar actions. Right. Quizzical. If you're talking, you know, even if it's double talk, you don't have two talkings by which we've got two talkers here or something like that, right? So that one, when he says furthermore, you see, is another type of reasoning. Hence, one goer does not have two goers. Fine. Same time, same place is what that means, of course. Now, in Tsongkhapa's outline of the text, stanza 7 begins a new section. Refutation of going through analyzing the agent. And I think he's right that there's a major shift, even if the topic of goer has already been brought up, and in a sense we're continuing out of that. I think that this is a new tack. Even so the person in the street. Going is still apprehended in a goer, such as Devadatta, because we say things like, he is going. It's as simple as that. It's got to be going. We say things like, he's going, she's going, she's gone. Thus, going exists because of the existence of a goer. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. It's not, I mean, he's gone, right? She's gone. Going exists because of the existence of a goer who is the base of going. It would be so if the base of going, a goer, existed, but is not so. Without. Gantāram tiraskrtya gamanam nopapadyate pramane sati gantata buddha eva bhavishyati. Who could write that except with a profound sense of humor? Without a goer, going is not feasible. Right. Without going, just how could a goer exist? Right. Therefore, it was explained in the last stanza that without a goer, a baseless going does not exist. And hence there is no going without or lacking goer. Without or lacking is glossing the Sanskrit word, right? When there is no going, how could there be an uncaused goer? Fine, I admit it already, right? Thus, there's no going. Hey! So now here, instead of again analyzing gamanam and gantā, he's analyzing gantā and gamanam. Gamanam or gamya, or gacchati. So the present active third person singular is gacchati. Gantāna gacchati kāla. Agandāna gacchati. So gantā means goer, right? So that's Gantāna gacchati tāveda gantāna gacchati anyo gantura gantuscha tshig gacchati. Probably I quoted the second line a little differently. Going exists because due to it there is designated of one there is designated one, probably of is superfluous, one who possesses. A goer possesses going, and due to possessing it is going. True, true, true. If there were no going, there would be no designation, he is going. To a Devadatta who possesses going, to a Devadatta who possesses going. Just as there is no designation stick holder, there is no stick. There's stick holder,
Ridiculous.
meaning one who has a stick. You wouldn't say that unless there was a stick, right?
Isn't
Well,
the
the
stick?
stick holder is that, it's not only stick holder.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes. You don't say the person's got a lot of money unless the person has a lot of money now. But with regard to a lot of things, right, it doesn't have to be right now. It's something that in general you're endowed with.
He's a basketball player or something.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, so-and-so's a basketball player, and they're not playing basketball now.
Or students?
So then you don't need some playing to be a basketball player. That's why I'm a famous basketball player. So now how do we answer this? It is certainly because of some basketball playing, this person is called a basketball player, right? And it's past and future independence upon that we designate this person as a player. So maybe in the same way, you know, you could have it first in the area and then it goes up into the goer. It's great, isn't it? Thinking about things like you don't want to think about. That your mind, do you ever, you know, I mean, kids ask why, right? Going would exist if the designation he is going existed. He, because Prima Devadatta. However, it's not so, for as Nāgārjuna says, respectively, a goer is not going. A goer doesn't go. Non-goer also doesn't go. What third other than a goer and a non-goer is going? Now that's interesting. Either a goer goes or a non-goer goes. There isn't any other third. There isn't any third. I think with regard to the area, is there really a third? Are there really only two possibilities and he's just eliminating a third because there are only two? Or are there really three possibilities? I mean, it seems to me with regard to the place, there are three. But it gets really touchy. When he eliminates, with regard to the place, he eliminates gamanam because there isn't any being gone over separate from the gone over and the yet to be gone over, right? Here he asks, what third is there other than go or non-go? I mean, the whole universe can be divided into go or non-go. You don't need any third at all there. You're either go or non-go. You see, Tsongkhapa claims that I believe goer and non-goer, there's no third possibility. But with the path, there are.
I think that's not necessarily true. If you have gata and agata, the gata is the gone and the agata is the not gone. And it's just two.
That's what he finally decides.
Yeah, and he gets rid of gamanam, it seems, on that basis.
But if you,
But Tsongkhapa says he's not.
I mean, it's like there's
The language has three. Gatam, agatam, and gamyamanam. But with regard to ganta, it's only got ganta and aganta. It doesn't have any, you know, there is no. Because someone goes, he's a goer, or she's a goer. Respectively, a goer is not going. And how she is not going will be explained in the next three stanzas. Well, that's the more interesting one, that a goer goes, not that a non-goer goes. That's too silly for words. A non-goer is not going either, because non-goer is one who lacks an action of going, and gacchati is a term used for one who possesses an action of going. Fine. If someone is a non-goer, he loves I love them too. They're just beautiful little statements. If someone is a non-goer, how can she be going? If she is going, she is not a non-goer. One who is neither a goer nor a non-goer is going. If it is so, for what third? Separate from a goer and non-goer is there to whom his going will be ascribed. Hence, going does not exist. Okay, but now we'll come back to a non-goer's going. Oh, no, sorry. The person admits a non-goer is not going. Neither is one who's neither a goer nor a non-goer. However, just a goer is going. Yeah. This also is not so. Why? How would a goer is going be feasible when without a goer is not feasible? Now you've gotten into the groove, right? You understand what he's doing. Gantā tāvat gacchati katam nopapadyate vimane vina gantā yada nopapadyate. They all sound the same, don't they? You can see how much fun it must be to write something that is so similar and yet so different. You know, removing it from the object to the agent. So here in the statement, a goer is going, or a goer goes. There's just one action of going. By means of it, gacchati, the verb, is designated. However, there's no second action of going for the designation of goer. Therefore, when a goer without going, that is, an ongoing goer, does not exist, then a goer's going is not feasible. Oh! I'm just still amazed that he does not bother to do it area and agent. That he chooses area and action and agent. Why not at least then move on to agent and area, the more obvious? It's like the more obvious is silent, right? It's implicit. If you're going to have trouble with action and object, place, and action and agent, obviously place and agent will have a problem, I think. Due to possessing a goer is one who has going, the person says. You know, of course. Nevertheless, because there is no second action of going, the designation who is going will not occur. Nāgārjuna says, one whose position is that, a goer is going, it follows. There is a going without going, due to asserting a goer is going. Right? Here the goer is getting the going. And then the going that the going goer does won't be endowed with going. Won't the action that the right? Look at him. He's sinking. It's just, you can see the chapter. God. And he can hardly even think, when is this over? That he can't even look at his watch, you know? So this is called reasoning analyzing the ultimate. There isn't anything else. This is it. This is reasoning analyzing the ultimate. Reasoning analyzing, doing that thing with the foot. That's reasoning analyzing the ultimate. There's nothing more special than this. Of course, it has to work for it to be, right, endowed with meaning. But this is it. That's all. When they say things don't exist in the face of the reasoning analyzing the ultimate. It's in the face of just this sort of thing. And you can see why people would think of Nāgārjuna as nihilistic, right? And decide we need some other more positive teaching. You can see it. You can see why. You can see the justification. It's, and you can see some people claim that that's the third wheel of the doctrine. The second wheel is too negative, and the third wheel is more positive. For Prasāṅgika, the second wheel contains it all, because he sees a compatibility with dependent arising. How that is, you can see how abstruse, how difficult that is. Well, one understands a lot by pursuing. And we may have done enough. One who asserts a goer is going is a proponent who asserts that just due to possessing an action of going, there's a goer. For him or her, due to the designation of a goer who possesses the going, it would mean that a goer without going is going. Who? Since there's no section action of going. Which one are we doing now? Are we doing... Yeah, the is going doesn't make sense. It would mean that a goer is going without going. Hence, that a goer is going is not feasible. The term goer in the phrase, in the phrase goer without going means is going. Right. Hence, you see that one? I just had a problem with it. A going is going. I don't know. Whatever. Let's go on. It's that both goer and is going possession action. I'm starting to fall apart looking at my motion. Okay.
It'd be really helpful to divide it up into those three. It's between the agents, the goer side and the going. Knowing that, okay, that's just...
So now we do both. What I love is number 12. Where going is begun. And when he goes on to analyze the agent of who begins going. In the Parmenides, Zeno, Plato, but Zeno is speaking to Socrates, right? Socrates there is the student who's saying dumb things from time to time. And Zeno settles, he doesn't settle down that these things aren't findable. He settles down with oneness, you see, which gives it a more positive, tone to it. And one can see why. You can see why. And you can see why somebody would turn from emptiness to something like the one great sphere of reality. Some more positive turn to it. When you look back at things that have been done, and they seem to have just disappeared. It was like if they really were as substantial as we thought they were when we were doing them, they ought to hang around, and yet they don't. And to me, this impermanence is a sign that they didn't exist so substantially in the first place. And then this is exploring that insubstantiality that was there to begin with.